Hello and welcome to Leaders of Tomorrow, 18 Hours special initiative that celebrates the undying entrepreneurial spirit of micro, small and medium enterprises. Here's what we have lined up on the show for you today. On our Insights segment, we're talking to Wishberry. We'll talk all things crowdfunding. On Bright Sparks tonight, we feature Poppy's Knitwear, one of India's most well-known textile companies, and YouBuild, a do-it-yourself furniture company. So that's what we have in store for you tonight. Let's start off right away with our Insight conversation. As we've seen time and time again in terms of feedback and conversations with entrepreneurs here on the Leaders of Tomorrow, funding remains the #1 challenge for businesses. Crowdfunding then is a way of ensuring that projects or ventures are funded by raising many small amounts of money from a large number of people, typically via the internet. It is relatively new to India, but its co-founders have big plans for the business. I caught up with Anshulika Dubey as well as Priyanka Agarwal, its co-founders. Take a listen. And I want to start by understanding the journey behind Wishberry.
So it was very interesting. I was in McKinsey and I spent 4 years over there. And Priyanka, who was my ex-McKinsey colleague, had become my Facebook friend and we had not really interacted much in a long time. And I knew that she had moved on from McKinsey and had started something called Wishberry, but I didn't know exactly what it did. So just one day on Facebook, I saw her putting out a fundraising campaign of a particular NGO, and the entire format of the website looked exactly like Kickstarters, that you have a project, you have rewards. And I was like, wait, somebody's doing crowdfunding in India and I need to tell her that, you should extend this to artists and not just keep it to charity. And I write to her and I said that you can probably do this and I can totally just give you all the information and you can start, because I had no idea on how to do this myself. So she was like, yeah, this sounds interesting, let me get back to you. She probably did her own research and stuff. And then I remember in February 2012, I was in Boston already to discuss my transfer with my seniors, when just one morning she sends me an email saying, I think your idea is great and I think you should just come and head it with me. I said, amazing. Are you kidding me?
So that's an interesting journey. But just how large is the market for crowdfunding in India?
So crowdfunding it's not like, as Anshulika keeps saying, selling soap or selling something that already gets sold offline, online. It's about creating a new behavior. So, as she mentioned, that artists in India, whether it's filmmakers, musicians, theatre groups, dancers, they don't have a traditional source of funding, right? They can't go to financial institutions because there's no credit. They can't go to angel investors, there's no return. So, and they're not charity, right? So they can't go to a CSR fund or government grants to get money. So what do? They actually give up their dreams and go get IT jobs. So now we are saying that there is a new way for you to pursue your dream, which is raise money online through friends and fans.
For areas and sectors outside of what you're looking at right now, will it be more relevant to say the manufacturing industry at some point going forward? Could they look at crowdfunding as an option?
So I think there are different models of crowdfunding, right? There's equity crowdfunding when, startups or, medium, small enterprises actually want to raise larger amounts, 3, 4 crores, 10 crores, and they want to actually give out equity in their company for growth. So that is when the equity crowdfunding model works. That model in India is hard because it's not exactly legal yet. SEBI has released a consultation paper, but they've not really codified it into a set of rules. It took the US almost 3-4 years to get their set of rules out, right? The Jobs Act was released in 2012.
4 years, yeah.
So medium and small enterprises today, whether manufacturing or consumer, whatever, I don't know whether crowdfunding is relevant for them yet.
Okay, so I want to talk about, what advice you would have for our viewers in terms of making themselves more investment ready.
Wow. I think having a unique idea that you are truly passionate about is what's most important. And I want to stress on the passion bit, because it's not just the idea an investor invests in, especially at the angel stage or seed stage. It's the entrepreneur as well. So it's important that you are as passionate about your idea as your co-founder, and you sell yourself as much as you sell the idea. So I would say that having an idea that you're proud of and that you really want to make happen is probably the most important factor in being able to raise funding for your idea.
Starting out, what would you say is the biggest challenge you guys have encountered, and what advice then would you have for our viewers?
I would say starting out finding the right team. As she mentioned, I had started Wishberry a year earlier as a very different business in charity fundraising, and I kind of started it alone, right? And it's very difficult to go through the journey of being an entrepreneur with the ups and downs, emotional, financial, everything alone. But then, how do you find a co-founder? It's like finding professional soulmate, right?
Absolutely.
So I almost
more important than a husband or a wife.
Exactly, right? And I almost went through 3 or 4 of them, right? Till I found Anshalika. And again, what bound us is the passion for the idea. The crowdfunding for creative artists was her idea. Being an entrepreneur was my idea. And then that marriage worked, right? So I think you just need to put yourself out there and find people, but find people who believe in what you believe in.
Both of you are just about 30. Has that ever worked against you? And also, as much as we hate talking about the gender angle, has that ever come up? Has that ever been a challenge?
So we'll have very different perspectives here. I think age is not a barrier. I feel as long as you.
Nobody thought that we were kids or something like that trying to do something.
Absolutely.
No,
I did.
But I think even gender genuinely is not really an issue per se in being an entrepreneur in general. But when it comes to raising funds or external capital for your business, and when then you depend on either the traditional sources as banks or investors, then they are colored by prejudice, right? They think that women, their priorities change when they get married, and since we both not married, they would think that, okay, what if they put in 5 crores in the business and then we get married, will we shut the business down? Or really absurd concerns, right? But then again,
how do you handle those concerns? How do you convince them?
So we've had those really few cases, but instead of worrying about that too much, just move on, because there were 45 of them who really didn't care.
We have 45 investors in Wishberry. We crowdsourced our investment. And our lead investor, Rajan, he's known for his hashtag, the future is female. So he actively invests in startups run by women. And the other lead investor in our company, Sharat Sharma, he actually went to another extreme, saying that crowdfunding requires empathy, because you're essentially convincing 2 people who may be strangers to invest in each other, right? And empathy comes best from women, right? And which is why he feels a business like ours is best run by women.
So what advice would you have for our female entrepreneurs who are watching this show? I mean, you've been fortunate that you found people who have backed you 100%. But what about those women entrepreneurs who are still struggling with some of these issues?
I think most of the struggle lies within the idea. Most of the problem. I think just being too married to your idea is just not something that any person, whether it's a female entrepreneur or a male entrepreneur, should get married to the idea too much, that they're not seeing what the market is telling them. They don't like to change anything. Look into your idea, listen to the market, you'll find the answers there yourself. Take feedback. Maybe if 5 investors are saying that the same thing, maybe there is something that you need to step back and take a look at.
So speaking of that, how important is mentoring? And, so for example, we've had a lot of women VCs who've come on the show who say that mentoring for women is very different when it comes to, mentoring for women and mentoring for men is very different. And you have to find that particular fit in terms of a role model. What has that been like for you guys?
I don't think that's true. I mean, Anshalika and I, we have a very different viewpoint. We feel we asked a similar question: what are the issues female entrepreneurs face? And the answer is the same issues that male entrepreneurs face, right? I mean, entrepreneurs are entrepreneurs. So I feel, yes, mentorship for us has been important. In fact, our lead investors for our last round of funding came through one of our mentors, advisors, who started out as a client actually. He runs the startup center in Chennai. So mentors are important to open doors. Now, the doors could be for investment, could be for cracking a deal, for clients, could be for anything.
But mentors are needed for sure. Meaning you just, you need an outside perspective. You absolutely do. So, when a lot of people ask me that 6 months into their startups, they start getting advisors on board for equity. I would say 6 months is probably too short a time, because then you're also moving towards too many cooks spoil the broth. But once you have figured out something and you are like 100% sure that this is the way I want to do it, and I haven't found any hurdle in my style of running the business, that's when you get an advisor on board to just now scale this up further.
But how do you go about finding that mentor? Someone who is the right fit for you?
I think in the course of your doing business, you come across so many people. So I think it just happens on its own. You don't have to really take out time and say, okay, now today I'm going to go to this market to find my mentor. There isn't any. So, but in your daily workings, you will find someone.
What are the next, say, 5 to 10 years looking like for you at Wishberry? Maybe I can, ask each of you to speak on that.
I would say it very non-quantitatively. A big milestone for us at Wishberry is that 3 of the films that we crowdfunded on our platforms have won national awards. And that was amazing. And for me, I was happy for 30 seconds and I said, now next is the Sundance Film Festival and finally the Oscars. So next 10 years, we have to crowdfund an Oscar on Wishberry. That is my goal for the next 10 years.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I completely resonate with what she is talking about. We really want to empower artists in the country, and we do see ourselves becoming that ecosystem, which is doing so many things. It's starting with crowdfunding, but it'll also do a lot more things that are in the offing. So I think I see Wishberry becoming a conglomerate for artists.
Let's take a quick break. On the other side, we'll bring you up to speed with Poppy's Knitwear as well as YouBuild. Do stay tuned. Welcome back to Leaders of Tomorrow. On Bright Sparks tonight, we're featuring Poppy's Knitwear and YouBuild. The textile industry in India contributes more than 10% to industrial production and about 4% to the country's GDP. The textile industry in Tamil Nadu adds the highest percentage when it comes to export and the export pie. We travel to Tirupur to bring you the story of a man who's changed the face of exports in India. Palumi Mukhopadhyay captures his journey.
It was started in 1973 by Padma Shri Dr. A. Shaktivel. Within a few years of its operation, it became the preferred supplier for leading global brands. The company is none other than Poppy's Knitwear. Poppy's is one of the leading knitwear manufacturers and exporters in India with an annual turnover of about $70 million. We caught up with the chairman of Poppy's, Dr. A. Shaktivel, who has set an example for many from the textile industry. So from 73 till now, you have done a commendable job and the journey has been incredible. But now you have started focusing more on the baby wear segment. Tell us, what is the reason behind such a choice?
See, the thing is, we were doing everything. It's not that we were only last 3 years or 4 years we entered into the segment. I find there are a lot of competition for other segments. We find that we should have some specialty segment where we say that yes, Poppy's is good for this segment. The children segment is exclusive because unless otherwise you give a product which is liked by the parents. So we have selected a fabric. We have did a lot of research on this. So we have created a fabric and also design and the fittings for the children wear. And we are successful.
So when it comes to textile and apparel industry, what are the kind of differences that you see from Indian market and the Western world?
See, the thing is, earlier days, a lot of differences. See, European fashion and American fashion, still American fashion and European fashions are still there. There's a difference. Now, what happens now, a lot of brand names comes into the India. Even Indian people started liking European fashion. Now, more they want European fashion, Western fashion than the Indian fashion. So, the T-shirt is becoming a universally popular
dress
code, and India has started slowly adopting that. So the difference between domestic and international is not much nowadays.
With quality in products, people-oriented outlook and growth on their balance sheets, Poppy's Knitwear has become one of the leading exporter of garments to over 50 countries worldwide. The company flaunts an enviable range of products starting from knitted and woven wear for men, women and children. The latest launch in 2016 flaunts kitchen knitwear for Italian brands. What are the kind of shortcomings that you face as a textile manufacturer and exporter in India when it comes to different regulatory and taxation norms that are prevalent in the government?
See, one thing is now we have reached a saturation point in cotton garments. Now we want to divert it to synthetic garments. In synthetic garments, whereas our man-made fiber and the duties are higher, we want the government should reduce the duty for the synthetic fiber and yarn so that we can compete easily. And another thing, there are a lot of specially fabric available in Taiwan, China and Korea, all man-made fibers, made out of man-made fibers. So we want some easy imports of this fabric and for re-exports. So once the government gives some kind of a thing, so we can cater the round-the-year business, and also once we import and use the fabric, we can immediately start manufacture in India also, so we can start doing the market.
When it comes to textile industry, you have set an example in this country. What are the key focus areas would you suggest to a budding entrepreneur who is actually planning to make it big in this kind of a sector?
So the thing is, there is a good scope for the garment exports. Only thing that here you need a good capacity, good quality and compliance. The compliance is more important nowadays because the buyers are chain stores who comes here. You name any buyer, any brand name, they all buy it here. But the compliance is more important now. And there is a Apparel Export Promotion Council which helps you out for promoting your garments. You can participate in a fair outside India, buyer-seller meet. For the young entrepreneurs, it is good for coming to the garment export.
Poppy's Knitwear is a supplier to leading global brands hailing from United States, Europe, Middle East, United Kingdom, Canada, Germany and so on. With sheer hard work, dedication and innovative trade practices, Dr. Shakti Bail is all set to take Poppies to greater heights in years to come.
Have you ever thought of making your own furniture but never found the time or the material or both? Well, there's one company in India which will make this dream of yours come true. The love for DIY or do-it-yourself architecture and environment has brought together the founders of YouBuild. They create DIY furniture and curios out of upcycled wood. Vidya Bharti has the story.
Do-it-yourself has become sort of a fad today. Be it making your own accessories or changing your room's decor, we are no more dependent on professional help. One company trying to inculcate the habit of DIY in India is YouBuild. This online DIY-focused company is making all efforts to make Indians fall in love with the idea of making their own furniture. So Denzel, tell me what led you to start a DIY furniture company?
Yeah, YouBuild.com. We started, Pradeep, Shobha and I started YouBuild.com about a year ago when we were trying to make wooden planters for our organics terrace garden. While making that, what we saw is that it was very difficult to procure wood. It was difficult to rent machinery, and in addition we had to find an expert craftsman who could guide us. We went through the journey of making the planters. It came out wonderful for our organic terrace garden. But what we realized when making that was, we could make the whole planter as a DIY kit, have the correct instructions, provide all the tools, and just supply it to people so that they can make simple, awesome furniture on their own. And we thought we'll give it a shot, and we launched it at the end of May 2015, and it's been great going since then.
How has the response been towards your DIY furniture segment?
In India, things are changing. We see it changing rapidly, where people are interested. You see a lot of Facebook groups that have started. There's a lot of social chatter about DIY. And what we've also seen, like from the time, from May since we've launched the company, we've been getting great feedback from the customers. We've seen mothers and daughters putting together a tiny dollhouse, taking great pride in what they have done. We have seen at the other end of the spectrum, we've seen retired government officials who want to pursue a hobby. They look up for DIY furniture on Google, and then they land up on our page. And they buy a kit and they make something, and they love it tremendously. I mean, when they call us, they're so happy that they have something to do.
Denzel, tell us about your company's marketing strategy, and also tell us about your target audience.
We look at our target audience as anybody who's above the age of 23. all the way up to people who are 70, 72 years or more. The reason is DIY is on one end of a spectrum, it's like a hobby. At the other end, it is a serious activity that results in something constructive for your home. You know, when you make a table, when you make a dollhouse, it's something that people would like to be involved in. In terms of marketing, we are a bootstrap company. What we decided is that we will not spend a huge budget on marketing. What we think is important and has worked great in our favor is to focus on the product. The user experience of the product itself has to be really great. People should have fun. Like our catch line is, we say, have fun while you build. So we focus on that.
The first DIY furniture store in India will make you a super proud owner of stylish furniture made of upcycled pine wood. The easy set of instructions, toolkits and 3D videos help you put the pieces together in a jiffy to make beautiful furniture.
So in addition to using 100% upcycled wood, you also chose to make your furniture out of pine wood, which is not the traditional wood in India.
I think Indians have always been very eco-friendly as well as price sensitive, right? So initially when we introduced pine wood and upcycled pine wood, there were a lot of questions around it. But in our experience center, when people came in and started experiencing our furniture, they were delighted with what we were offering them, and we see a whole lot of customers moving from the traditional wood into upcycled pine wood now.
You also have a pre-assembled option for a very small fee. Is the small fee there to encourage people to go for DIY furniture?
Definitely, right? We, being a DIY store, we really want all our customers to go the DIY way. But we know there are some customers who don't have the time or who are not inclined towards wanting to do DIY furniture. But they really believe in the upcycle concept. So they buy the upcycled furniture. That itself is a big deal. And there are a lot of DIY enthusiasts who buy it at a lower cost and enjoy it.
So Shobha, right now you're an online platform with one experience center in Bangalore. Do you plan to expand more?
We want to be a mix of both, right? Online is a great medium for us to reach to a larger audience, and we really want our customers to come experience our furniture, which is upcycled as well as DIY. So this one center is of great help to us to attract customers, and we definitely want to grow the number of centers we have.
There is nothing more rewarding than making things yourself. And YouBuild's handcrafted wooden furniture lets you do just that, and in the process also gives you a reason to spend some quality time with your family.
With that, it's a wrap on this edition of Leaders of Tomorrow. We'd love to hear from you. Do write in to us at leadersoftomorrow@timesgroup.com. Reach us on social media using the hashtag LOT or call us on the number flashing on your screen. Thanks for watching.